We're going to be making some homemade country sausage today. And we have a Boston butt here. This is about a 9-pound Boston butt. So we're going to just put it out onto our block that we're going to be cutting. And we want this into chunks or strips. So we will just start cutting. And you just want to cut little pieces like this to run through your grinder. So, like I say, we're just going to cut off strips till we get the Boston butt all cut up. Doesn't matter in the length, it just matters the size of going through your grinder. Okay, now we have cut up our Boston butt into the chunk size, and this is the bone that is in the center of it. And you want to, just get as much off of the bone as you can. And after you cut this up, you want to weigh it. Some of you may have bigger scales than this, but we want to weigh this to see exactly how much it is, so we know how much of the spice to put in it to get a correct seasoning on it. Okay, and then next we're going to take our fat. You always want to have some extra fat so that the sausage will fry itself, what they call it, which is has enough grease to make its own grease while it is frying. So now we're going to go ahead and cut up our pork fat. I'm going to go ahead and put this in the pot because we already know how much this weighs. Good old country sausage, there's nothing like it. Much better than what you buy in the store. All right. And this you can get at any of the butcher shops. You may have to call in advance to get this. But you want to put in, for every 10 pounds, you want to put at least 2 pounds of fat to it so it will have the right consistency. Okay, and normally this is already cut into pieces when you buy it, which a lot of it has some lean on there with it, but that's okay. We just want to weigh these. You want to watch, because sometimes they'll put the skin, leave the skin on this fat, and you want to make sure you don't have that. Yeah, the fat will dull your knife very quickly, so you may want to have a sharpener handy when you're doing this. Like I say, it doesn't matter the length of these strips, just the size. We're almost through. We'll get all our weights. And then we'll get ready to start putting it into the grinder after we add our spices to it. Okay. Okay, we have so now this is 2.5 pounds. So that with the 8.5 pounds will make 11 pounds. So we have 11 pounds of sausage we're going to make. And we just dump that all together. Now that's all finished. Now we're ready for our seasoning. Let me grab the seasoning. Okay, this is the Legs Old Plantation pork sausage seasoning. This is one of the best seasonings that I have ever tried on homemade sausage. You can add all your own ingredients, but it is really cheaper to buy this and add, some of your favorite if you want it hotter or if you want more sage to it. You can do that pretty easily. But this bag does 25 pounds of sausage. So we want to add just a little less than half the bag. And this is an 8 ounce bag. So we want to do 4 ounces, roughly 4 ounces of this. I've never been one to do a lot of measuring, but that's about 3/4 of the bag. So we want to just dump that in on top of the sausage. And then we go, and no, we haven't got enough yet. Okay, there we go. Now that's about right. That's about what we wanted to use. If you get too much of this in, it'll make your sausage really salty because this has a lot of salt in it. But that's about all we needed to use of that. And now we want to do some more sage and some red pepper. This is rubbed sage. This you can get at any local supermarket, but we go to Amish stores or anywhere you can get bulk seasonings that'd be so much cheaper. And you just want to add enough of that to give a good sage taste, because this seasoning does not have very much sage in it. So I like mine with a little more sage in it. So, and then here is crushed red pepper flakes. I like to put just a little bit of that in. This is a new container, so we'll have to open that up. Like I say, I don't do a lot of measuring because we will do the taste test just a little bit later on. And this is some cayenne pepper. We want to put just a little bit of that in too, like I say, to make it a little warm to the taste. We just don't want to put a whole lot. We want to be able to add to rather than try to take it away. Okay, now you just mix all of this up really good together. Make sure you get a good coating on it. Okay, that's mixed really well now. You can see how all the spices are kind of evenly distributed through the meat. And it doesn't matter if you don't get this you'll have to remix this again after it is ground. Okay? Okay, now we're going to set up our grinder. You'll always want to have your blades pointed out. And on the first grind on your sausage, you'll want to use the outlet that has the larger holes in it. You'll want to use this one first. So you just place that in. You can use a lot of different kind of grinders. Have a little problem here getting this one together though, but it shouldn't take a minute. Okay, and then we want to screw our cap back on. You want to make sure you don't tighten this much. Just snug it down just a little. Then you want to start, get everything set where you can work pretty easily. All right. sausage. Like I said, this is just the first grind. Having a lot of fat and lean both come out. This is so much easier to use these than it is those old crank ones that I started out with years ago. This takes a lot of the work out of it. This was a Boston butt, and we're doing about, come out to, 11 pounds of sausage. Okay, I am using a Stix Turbo Force grinder. This is one that my wife got me for Christmas a couple years ago. It does an awesome job. It's about $249. You can order it online. But like I said, it is a very good grinder. And it's kind of like a miniature Hobart grinder. If any of you know what a Hobart grinder is, that's more ones that they use in your butcher shops, and this is just a downscale of that. See, the sausage is coming out really good now. But right now it's a little bit on the chunky side, since we're using the large holes to go through first. We're still not certain if we have the right amount of seasoning in it or not yet, but we will try that, and how we do that is when we finish up, we will make a ball of sausage and fry it and just see how it tastes. You can always add to make it to give it the taste you want, the heat that you want, or if you want more sage sausage, you can, or more salt. You can always add. We're a little over half done right now, and it hasn't taken us very long at all. But back in the days with the old hand grinder, you could be doing this for a couple hours and still not be finished. I had just made some Italian sausage, some hot Italian sausage a few weeks ago, and you can get that spice also online. And like I say, wait till the Boston butts, or you can do fresh picnics also. They do not, picnics do not require as much fat, because they are generally more fat to them than on the Boston butts. sausage like that in soups and spaghetti and lasagna or anything like that, and it will save you a lot of money because the Italian sausage is very expensive in the grocery store. Again, back to our country sausage. It even smells good. On our last few pieces here. In our container right now. Now we just gotta wait for this to make sure it's all cleared out. Let it run just a minute and make sure we get it all out. We're doing that. We can mix it up just a little bit. Mix it up a little bit to get those places that have a lot of fat in them all distributed with the lean and the fat together. You don't want to get one bag that's got a lot of fat and the next be all lean. Shut off our grinder and open this up, open this back up, and I'll show you what we need to do here. We need to make sure we try to clean out the grinder. So let's do that and pull all of that out and make sure we got all the sausage out of that. This take your blade off. Most of the time you want to leave what's on the blade alone because a lot of times that is gristle. And you don't want that in your sausage. So you just clean all this off and then you lay this aside because you're going to use it back again in just a little bit. But right now what we want to do is still again mix this all up. We don't want to get any of that in our sausage either because that has a lot of gristle in that right there. So now we'll mix it again real good and then we will proceed on in just a minute to fry a ball of this and just see how it tastes. So we'll be back in just a minute. Okay, we have just fried out a little bit, and you want to crumble it up a little bit when you're frying it so that it'll fry quicker so you don't have to wait so long as to make it into a ball or a patty. So we've already tasted this, and it is really good. We think we may need just a little bit more sage, but that's the purpose of grinding it the first time, then tasting it, and then so we can always add before we grind it the second time, because once you grind it the second time, you want to make sure that you have it just like you want it, so it will be easier to, because you don't want to mix it again because you may not get it as well distributed the second time. Okay, let's go ahead and add just a little bit more sage to this. Like I say, we don't need very much. We just want to add just a little to the top of that. Then we'll mix it up, and then we'll run it through our grinder again. And this is what we were talking about earlier, using the larger hole first, and then switching down to the smaller one, so your sausage will be a more even textured. When you just grind it one time, it has a tendency to be clumpy or have larger lumps in it, and it's just much better to have it ground the second time in this smaller tub. Okay, let's go ahead and mix our sausage back up again with this sage. We just dropped something, but that's nothing that can't be corrected. Thank God for in-house water. Remember in the old times when they were doing sausage, we used to have to get everything out of the well to do the sausage or to wash up everything, and then had to boil the water to get it hot because we didn't have indoor plumbing. So there's just so many more modern conveniences that have just made this more fun to make. Okay, we've got that pretty well blended together. And if you want to, you can go ahead and fry another ball or fry another little piece up to see if this is pretty well how you like it. But we think what we added was pretty close to what it needed. But like I say, you have the option of frying it up again just to see if this is what you like. But I'm going to go ahead and wash up my hands so we can get started again on grinding it. Okay, we're putting our grinder back together. We have our small blade, our small whole piece in there now, and we're going to go ahead and put the nut onto this, if I can get it to go the right way. Okay, and like I said, you don't want to tighten it down, just like that is good. Then we want to take this sausage, we want to put it back in our pot. We want to mix it just a little more once we get it in there. This will be our second grinding for this. Okay. So I just want to mix it good again, because you don't want one bite of your sausage to be hot and one bite of it be no seasoning in it at all, so you want to make sure this is good and mixed. And if I keep repeating myself on this, it's because it is important that you do get a good mix on this. Okay, now we want to go ahead and start with our second grinding. And this one is just a little bit harder to do because, like I say, you don't, I'm going to go ahead and start our grinder up. We want to use our plunger here to make sure that it goes on through. Hands have a tendency to get burnt with pepper or anything like that. It'd probably be a good idea to wear gloves doing this, but it doesn't bother me. So. But you can see the texture of the sausage is a lot different coming out of the machine the second time. This is a little bit longer process right here, running it through the second time again. So when you're first starting out making sausage, I suggest to go ahead and just start with one Boston butt, start with, just, so you get an idea of it before you want to try a big venture like doing 30 or 40 pounds of the sausage, which generally takes about a half a day to do that much. Me and my wife just did that a few weeks ago. But this little machine right here has really made it a lot easier. You can see the consistency of that is really, really fine. That's when you get your good sausage. This is kind of like, remember when you was a small kid, if you did like I did, like making mud pies. This is about the consistency of making mud pies. But this is a lot better to eat than mud pies were. Okay, this is a sausage that you end up with after the second grinding. As the sausage cools, it will become more red like it was on the first grinding. But the texture of this is just so good. It is almost like a paste right now, but it will make a really nice ball of sausage when you get ready to fry it. Like I said, you can put it up in any amount of size containers depending on the size of your family. If it's just you and your wife, I suggest putting it in to where you can get 4 nice sized balls of sausage if you're big eaters and you'd like 2 each. Or, if you have kids, put it up into a little larger where you'd have 6. But that'll just be a decision that you'll need to make on how you want to put it up. But I do suggest that when you do put this up, that you put it into vacuum seal bags, because this will keep for, I have some that I did back in 2012, and it is just as fresh now as it was when I done it back then. So that does make a big difference to put it in vacuum sealed. But like I say, this is a sausage when we're through, and look forward to doing more videos and showing you what clay can do. Okay, thank you very much.